Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwara. Guru Sakshat Parabrahmam Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Sadashiva Samarambam Shankaracharya Madhyamam Ashwadacharya Paryandam Vande Guru Parampara. Om Sakana Vabadu, Sakana Punaktu, Sakavidyam Karavavage, Tejasvina Vadidamustuma Vatvishavage. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Yogena Chittasya Patena Vacham, Malam Sarirasya Chavitakena. Yopa Karotam Pravaram Munina Patanjali Pranjali Manadosmi. Sri Guru Brahma. In the last class, we saw this sutra, number 27, Tasya Saptad Prantabhumihi Prajna. So Patanjali has literally concluded his essential import of Yoga Darshana with this sutra. Remember, so he has actually given in the second chapter, Heyam, Heya Hetu, Hanam, Hana Upayam. Heyam means that which we do not want, that which we need to remove. That is the grief, that samsaram. So what is samsaram? Samsara hetuhu. What is the cause of this samsara? If you want to remove something, you should know the root of that. Otherwise, you only do a symptomatic cure. What is the heya hetu? What is the samsara hetu? Avidya. You saw that, right? Avidya, asmita. The panchaklesha. Ragadvesha, abhinivesha. Avidya, asmita, ragadvesha, abhinivesha. But abhinivesha, ragadvesha, asmita, all coming from where? From the avidya. Avidya is a bhumi, cause, mula avidya. Therefore, we can say the samsara hetu is avidya. Then he said, to be away from this avidya, you need freedom, kaivalyam, hanam, moksham. Then he said, the hana upayam, the means to attain that is, remember that, viveka khyadihi. Viveka means discriminatory intellect. Khyadi means steadfast illumination of that intellect. It is a summary, because that viveka khyadi comes from chitta vritti nirodham. So there are so many processes in between, but we consolidate into these four key parameters. Samsaram, samsara hetuhu, moksham, moksham payam. So then he said, this is the 27th sutra, he said, Tasya, of that person who has got that viveka khyadi. So what is his status? He will be a prajna in the pranta bhumihi. He will be in a kind of a position, footing, grounding, which is saptada, sevenfold prajna, a sevenfold wisdom he will have, which we saw as jignasa nivritti, jihasa nivritti, prepsa nivritti, chikirsha nivritti. Do you remember all that? Jignasa nivritti means the desire to learn something, that itch that you have, we all have, will come to an end. See, here we are not talking about very ordinary level of existence. We are talking about a yogi who achieved jnanam, and when he used to open the door of moksha, he will go with the fulfillment. Fulfillment means that he has nothing to learn anymore. Why? Because whatever needs to be learned is drishyam. Because only an object can be experienced, learned. And drishyam is what? Not you. And drishyam is something other than you. Therefore, there is nothing else to need. I need to know me. So, jignasa nivritti. I also don't need to reject them. Because drishyam is bhoga apavargam. Therefore, I don't hate anything. Jihasa nivritti. Jihasa means giving up something. I need to give up that. I need to give up this. No such anxiety we don't have. Prepsa. Oh, I need to attain that. I need to get this degree, this money, this house, this experience. Nothing. Why? Because you know everything that you attain is drishyam, object. It'll go away. So you have fulfillment, tripti. Chikirsha. Chikirsha means I have to do this action, you know. Bhagavan says in Gita, one cannot be without any action. But here you say Chikirsha Nivritti. There's a difference. Here it's a mental attitude. There is no mental tabam that I must do something. You still do something, but you don't do it driven by the tabam. Like the sun. Sun rises every day. It has no desire to rise. It is just there. It exists. It gives benefit to others. Same way you live. So this four we achieve. When we achieve this, automatically the three comes in, which is shoka nivritti. Samsara means shokam, grief. There is no grief anymore. Bhaya nivritti. Why there is no bhayam? Bhayam is only, what is the biggest bhayam we have? Death. But now we know that we are not that transiting prakriti. We are Purusha, eternal, Satyam. So I may have a different embodiment. It's not my destruction. So Bhaya Nivritti. So all this happens, but this jnanam is also subject to failure if you don't really have a complete conviction on this. But the manas will still active, the vikalpam will come. So that's why even Lord Shiva, Narayana is always meditating because they're always in the nishta, vikalpa nivritti. So what's the most important insight in this Shudra is that, you know, Patanjali is not talking about moksha as some empty mind, manonasham. No, not thoughtlessness. You cannot be thoughtless. That is a ruin. You might as well sleep. That's why not knowing it, many people follow the path of taking drugs and all that to quell the mind, get into the blanket of tamas. No. Here he defined very well. Moksha is a very active life, but in which you don't feel that you're acting, in which you don't feel that you need to attain anything, in which you have no fear, in which you have no sadness. That is moksha. So if you understand this definition of moksha, then we want the moksha now, not when we die, not when we are getting old. At a very young age, we should therefore have this moksha in our hand. That means we should be able to face this world with a completely free person, with no fear of anything. So this is what he defined. So he basically draws a conclusion here. But then why he has got other chapters? So for that, we need to really understand how he actually approached us. We can define the human beings into two parts. Samahita chittaha. Chittam means mind, intellect. Samahitam means very balanced, controlled mind. You know, sometimes people may not even need to learn yogas, and they may naturally be very controlled mind because their upbringing, maybe the previous janmas work. People may not even heard about Patanjali, that they may have a very virtuous life and they may be a very balanced person. So there are people like us, amongst us, who are samahita chittaha. And there are those like you and me, like me, who has got a vittana chitta. Vittana means vikalpam, vikshepam, just moving around, you know, vacillating mind. I want this, I want that. So we can broadly classify into two sets of people. But what he did, you know, even if you've forgotten all this we have been learning so far, please put your mind from now on, because now we can have an easy way of putting into practice. What he did was, if you are a samahita chitta, that means you are already having a reasonably tranquil mind, reasonably contemplative mind, then what you need is, I point out 3 sutras that you should remember. Abhyasa Vairagyabhyam Tannirodha in the chapter 1. That means for you, you have to follow Abhyasam and Vairagyam. What Abhyasam? Abhyasam means practicing something. What do I have to practice it? Very evident, because you have a samahita chittam. You have a controlled mind. That controlled mind may go away. Do Abhyasam. It means you start realizing that I have more or less a controlled mind. Therefore, I must do the exercises to make it remain controlled. The inhibitors of those exercises are desires. Therefore, I must have Vairagyam. Therefore, Vairagyam and Abhyasam is here, an intellectual understanding, a mental attitude towards life. Therefore, this we call the Uttama Adhikaris, those who are in the higher steps on the ladder. For them, there are 2 more important things. In the 20th Shudra, he said, Shraddha, Vijya, Smriti, Samadhi, Prajna, Purvaka, Itaresham. So all those things, Itaresham, all this you need it. The important one is Shraddha. Even though you have good understanding of scriptures and knowledge and everything, we may have impatience, I'm not seeing any benefit. I'm still suffering. Therefore, maybe this I should not be doing it. So that's Ashraddha. Ashraddha is the ruin. More you have to follow, more strong you should be in the Shraddha. Again, you see, this is the mental attitude, behavior change. Again, for Uttama Adhikaris, because they have already controlled the body. It's only the mental modification you need. So bring Shraddha. So Abhyasam, Vairagyam, Shraddha. Even though it is mental, we know from the Tattvabodha, the mind and body are somehow influencing each other. Because mind influences body more, body influences mind in a certain way. This influence happening between these two because of the binding force, the prana. So the prana is that, it's life. Okay, we call prana, the breathing, we call it prana. Prana is not breathing. Breathing is just a gross symbol of prana. Prana is a life energy. Breathing actually activates, deactivates, modulates it. Therefore, in the chapter 1, he said on the 34th Sutra, Sadhana Vidana Abhyam va Pranasya. He used a technical term. The exhalation and inhalation of the breathing be controlled. So therefore, the only so-called physical exercises given for the Uttama Adhikari is that do pranayama, have Shraddha. Practice what you are practicing that makes your mind calmer. So suppose you say, every day I do this Sahasranama Sostram and it gives me calm. That's fine. That is your yoga. Abhyasam. Don't give up. Vairagyam. Nothing else should interfere. So this is what he said in the chapter 1. But we were stubborn. He said, look, okay, all that is fine, but my body doesn't support. My mind doesn't support. I don't have that samadhi, the chittam. Then he said, well, for you, 3 more things I add. Tapas, Swadhyaya, Ishvara Pranidhanani. So this is the Shudra, you must remember, the chapter 2. Now we come to the Madhyama Adhikari. Adhikari means a qualified person, more or less mediocre person who is progressing it here. Right? For them, they say, yeah, what you have to do therefore is do tapas. Tapas is toiling your body. Do certain things. Swadhyayam. Learn scriptures, learn good things. Swadhyayam. You yourself study after going from the Guru, do mananam, contemplate. But do all that with the Ishvara Pranidhanani, in the presence of God, bringing presence of God in whatever you do. So here he is giving you, because you are not yet the reach of vairagyam, abhyasam, you are dealing with the world, that is fine. Therefore, in your worldly actions, convert your work into a worship. Convert the body into a upakaranam for this tapas. Kayena vacha manendriya. So we've gone through this, we call it Kriya Yoga, and we've gone through that one. So this is something which you cannot say, I cannot do, because this is not a esoteric knowledge. This is not a philosophical knowledge to contemplate so much on it. This is discipline. So my body is not cooperating. I can't sit in the class. I get sleep. That means why it is sleep coming at 11 o'clock in the morning. Well, I had too much of breakfast. Maybe I should take less food in the morning. Tapas, control the body. So like that, you do the tapas in so many ways to bring your body to a posture that it is comfortable to help you in your swadhyayam. Swadhyayam is reciting scriptures, learning good things, contemplating it, psyching your mind. You see, when you go more and more into this, you're going to go what's called Ashtanga Yoga. You have to bring in one important quality, which is enormous in us. In fact, this is the only quality we have. We come with when you're born in this world. We start losing it. What is the quality? That is imagination, visualization. Imagination is a real gift, bhavana. Child grows because it imagines. Every time you imagine, your neurons grow. So when you become older and mature, so somehow we think imagination is some illusion, dream. Vedanta says the whole world is imagination of God, mithyatvam. So that power you have the mithyatvam, you can create mithyatvam. You may have to, because see, everything, if you go into deeper into some of those yogic practices, there are going to be upayams given to us which would not stand up to scientific scrutiny, the so-called scientific scrutiny. Anaga chakram, Manipurakram. Where is it? You cut it, you own, nothing is there. But these are all bhavanas, because imagination, psych your mind and the body to get egakram. And the beauty is this imagination is given in a platter, which is so comfortable, conducive. But you need what you need for this? Shraddha. If you don't have Shraddha, if you have Ashraddha, it will not work. It is not stupidity. It is not unscientific. Science is full of imagination. When we imagine, we try to find a proof, because we are sat in a way, every imagination comes into reality, because we invent, we create. When we imagine this virus will mutate this way, it does mutate. It is sankalpam that makes it. So everything in the world is happening because we think that's the way it should be. This is very difficult to grasp this one. This is not predetermined things. Things happen because there is a sankalpam that this will happen. That's the reason why the sankalpa vittu is the mind, the chittam. So chitta vritti nirodham would make it auspicious. Anyway, so we saw this one. So this is the Kriya Yoga. Then we also had a problem. Well, this is fine, but I don't even know how to start this tapas. I don't even know. Is it just fasting? Just don't eat, that's it? What else I should do? So Adhyayam, I just read Bhagavad Gita, I know it back to forth, I can recite it with raga. Ishvara Pranidhani, I have prayers, I offer coconuts. All this is, there is no bhakta as good as which was like Ravana. What a bhakta he is. But you're such a fool. So what was missing is all this Kriya Yogam, all this is valuable only if you have value in yourself. You have to really make fine attenuation, modification to your body and mind, even before you go into tapas and dhyanam and swadhyayam. Therefore, there is a class of people, majority, who hasn't got a clue how to go about it. For them, Patanjali gives what is called Yoga Angas. Yoga Anga, Anusantanat, Ashuddhikshaye, Jnana Diptihi, Aviveka Khyati. So from the next sutra onwards, he is giving what's called Yoga Anga. Yoga, you can say Yoga Ashtanga. He's going to give you 8 steps, 8 limbs. So he's saying if you do this Yoga Anga, Anga means the limbs, the constituents, elements. Not literally steps, but let's use the word step as well. So if you use these limbs of yoga, then what you get the Viveka Khyati. So he is now going to give you those things. So now you can see, so if you just remember this 4, 5 sutras so far, you are holding on to the important trigger. So therefore, if I practice the Yoga Anga, Yoga Ashtanga, Ashtanga Yoga, whatever I'm going to learn now, that will lead me to do Tapas Swadhyayam Ishvara Pranidhani. Therefore, I become Madhyama Adhikari. My mind becomes Samahitam. Then what I need to do is just to maintain the Samahitam by Abhyasam and Vairagyam and Shraddha and Pranayama. So if you do all that, Samadhi is just a piece of cake. Everything comes in just like this is what Patanjali is giving us. So now we are going to understand what is this Ashtanga Yoga. Yoga Anga, Anushtanat, Asuddhikshaye, Jnana Diptir, Aviveka Khyate. A bit long, but I think it's simple. So, what he is going to say, the moksha upayam is viveka khyate. So the viveka khyati, that wisdom, that knowledge, jnanam is going to come to us by doing yoga anga, you can say Ashtanga Yoga, you can say. How? Anusantanam. Anu means continuous. Anupallavi, Anucharanam. Anu means continuous. Sthan means to be staying there, to holding on to this. Anusantanam, Anusthanam. When you are doing that continuously, what happened? Ashuddhikshaye. The prime purpose of yoga is Chitta Shuddhi, to purify the mind. Purify is not just putting a shampoo and cleaning it, it is clearing all the klesha, pancha klesha, kama, krodha, lopa, moha, madhamacharya, malams. You remove that. Kshayam means end. Akshaya means never ending. Kshaya means ending. So Ashuddhikshaye, the Ashuddhas are removed. When you remove that, you create Jnana Dipti. Dipti means the kindling the spark, growing spark. So Jnana Dipti means you start kindling the wisdom in you. Again, it is a very important insight. It's not Jnana Utpatti. You are not getting Jnanam. Jnanam is not given to you. Jnanam is already there. We are Jnana Swarupam. What we need, we are. So what we need is to kindle this, to raise it, to remove the veil that's covering it. So if you look at the word meaning, Yoga Anga, the limbs of yoga. Limbs is what? Angam means like my hand, my arm, and everything. So therefore, you cannot say hand separately, leg separately. It's all have to be together. Sometimes people say Ashtanga Yoga, you go each step by step. Unless you finish step 1, you can't go to step 2. If you understand what is step 1, I think one Janma is not enough to finish the step 1. So you can never finish, you can never go to the next step. So it is not strictly step in the sense, it is an angam. It forms part of the whole thing. So for our benefit is dividing this sadhana into 8 parts. Yoganga, anusthanas through the observance every time. Ashuddhikshaye, the impurities, the kleshas are removed. As soon as it starts removing it, you will see the jnana deepti, the luster of knowledge, is going to just glow in you. How does it glow? You start seeing things differently. Your perspective changes in life. When you are practicing this, even though you are not become a jnani yet, you have the traits of a jnani. You see things very differently. You become very balanced. People, not only you, everybody notices around you. Well, there is a change in you. This is because this jnana deeptam is you become, you become a luster, you become a effulgent, you glow, not in a physical sense, but your presence is make others happy. You feel comfortable. So all this is coming because the jnana deepam is rising. Aviveka khyadhi. Don't read it avivekam. Avivekam means very wrong thing. Aviveka means there is not knowledge. It's aviveka. A means paryandam, to up to. Asyadi Himachalam means from Rameshwaram to Himachalam, like that. A is up to, until. So the jnana deepam will start growing until what? Until viveka khyadhi. Until your discriminative wisdom becomes completely blown into its full potential. What he's saying is, you expect miracle, but miracle comes to you in very minute doses. It's not that you sit there, close your eyes, and then the light comes in, and you become fatafat, great jnani. It may happen, but what is guaranteed is that you will steadily, slowly, like when you take this stick and then you touch the lamp, and the deepa becomes more prakasham. Gently you propel it to glow bigger. Like that, your jnanam keep on posing it. Up to means, it becomes the full-blown jnanam. You become a jnani, you become a siddha. So here he given you what he's going to teach. That is, he's going to give you the yoga ankam. He's going to say in the next sutra as 8, Ashtanga Yoga. And he's given you the benefit. The benefit is a full-blown wisdom. He also given you a caution or a note that this is going to be incremental. Therefore, you have to really be passionate, patient, shraddha, krama. Okay. Now we will go into the Ashtanga Yoga. Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, Pratyahara, Dharana, Dhyana, Samadhayosh, Shtangani. It's all is one word. Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, all is one word. Ashta Angani. Ashta Angani. So he's going to give you 8 steps. So we will go through this in a very simple way, because he's going to expand each one of them in the subsequent sutras. So we don't dwell deeper into it. So we have a literal meaning and the contextual meaning first. Yama, first one. Sutra 8, first one is Yama, second is Niyama, third is Asana, fourth is Pranayama, 5 Pratyakara, Dharana, Dhyana, Samadhaya. Samadhaya means in Bhagavachana, samadhis, multiple samadhis. So yama, yam is a root word. Yam means to restrain, to control, to suppress. So yaman suppresses the life. So here he gives you a codes of self-regulation. So yama and niyama, the first two things, was going to bring you a behavior changes that we need to do in our external interaction with the world. We must demonstrate these things. The first one, he says, yama is a kind of conditional rules that you follow. By following that, which you don't go in the wrong way. So we are going to see what they are. So while the yama is that you do to control, so therefore you're not doing something, you refrain back from the bad things. So it's basically a regression suppression, regression indicator, or deviation indicator. If you are deviating, it tells you don't deviate, go back, go back. Don't tell lies, like that. So you can say simply don't. What you should not do comes under yama. Niyama is to maintain the self-regulated life by following certain rules. Niyama is that you shall do these things. But the important thing is why they are called limbs or steps, because niyama cannot be done without yama. And you're going to go in the same order. So asana, you cannot do asana without you have some understanding and practice of yama and niyama. So that way you follow. So everything that we learn now, we need to practice it, but give more importance to one above, so that unless you understand the one above is done well, second one cannot be strong. Yeah. Third one is asana. Asana is the posture, physical posture. But the first, see, he's so beautifully taking. The first one is how you conduct in the world. If you follow yama, niyama, you will be a perfect personality in your worldly affairs. Everybody will respect you. You're going to see how. So yama niyama is your behavior changes to the external world. Done. Then comes to your physical posture, because your physical posture, your physical appearance, your conduct is what is making relevant to the world. Therefore, body is important. Therefore, how your body has to be maintained. Maintained for what? To perform your yama niyamas. So here it's simply called postures. So if the body can maintain, of course, we have the Hatha Yoga, which takes the asana as a main thing, and then they add a word yoga in front of it. Then you have yoga asana, and you have so many different postures. And Patanjali is not going to go into all those details. He doesn't care. But this is just one part of it. But what he needs is, you need a posture that is going to help you to complete your yama niyama and the following angas. So we're going to see what they are. So postures. Then pranayama, which basically means prana ayama. Ayama means expansion, regulation, controlling, holding. There are so many meanings for that. Prana means life energy. The life energy is coming in the form of breathing. For prana ayama means, pranayama means controlling, regulating the breathing. Now, this is very important because Patanjali has told this one even to the Uttama Adhikari in the first thing as well. So you'll see the Kriya Yogam coming into the Ashtanga Yoga as well, because it's not that, first is different from second, from third. No. First one is a summary. Second one is a little bit better. Third one is in so many different details. Therefore, you see the same thing coming in different form. You'll see the Kriya Yogam coming in the different form. So therefore, pranayama is very important. Now, can I do pranayama as a woman and all that? There are a lot of questions there. But to my limited knowledge, I'll tell you, everybody can do it. But to what extent you do pranayama is very important, because it's a science. to be compatible to your body, your mind, your age, you do it. But definitely it is an important thing because Patanjali says so. So we should do that. Then next one is pratyahara. Pratyahara. Ahara means food, eating, taking. Agara means fetching, intaking, breathe. Anything intake is ahara. Pratyahara. So we are going to take something inside. But here what you're going to take is you're going to take inside the senses, not the senses bringing in. Normally we eat what the senses bring in. Oh, good smell. So senses bring smell. I take smell. So my aharam is this, the good smell. But here, pratyaharam is the smelling capacity I eat. That means I withdraw my sensing abilities. Why should I do it? It's a virtue. Yes, you do it because here you're going to focus your mind on something else. So the ability to withdraw senses is pratyahara. Understand? So now this yama, niyama, asana, pranayama, pratyahara. These are all called Bhagiranga sadhana. Bhagiranga sadhana means sadhanas that you do which has an impact on your external relationship, external activity. It is very demonstrable to the world that you are doing this in some form, because either in the action itself or the effect of action will illuminate that you are doing this. So, okay, this is not important right now, but just put a bracket there. So, yama, niyama, asana, pranayama, pratyahara. Now, from here onwards is a practical science. Of course, everything is a practical science, but we are very hesitant to really experiment with everything. Now onwards, do you want to practice it? That's the benefit of it, of course. Otherwise, this knowledge will be just a burden on our brain. So we must actually practice it. So when you practice it, we will see how to practice it. So we are going to take this yama, niyama, asana, pranayama, pratyahara into Bhagiranga sadhana group. And we will do that. Then dharana. So dharana is to akarshana, to grahanam, to concentrate, to bring. See, when your senses are brought inside, pratyahara has happened. Then senses stopped bringing anything to you. Therefore, the mind is, see, you have mind, men are called six senses. Why they are called six senses? 5 indriyas, then the 6 is the mind, the intellect. So we sense everything with these 6 instruments. When you have pratyahara, when you have got all the 5 senses drawn inside, which means they are muted, they are not really, you're not hearing anything else other than what I'm saying now. You're not smelling anything else. You're not speaking anything else. You're not seeing anything else. But then what are you doing? Because mind is focused on what it is focusing on. Dharana. But mind is not mischievous. No, it is mischief. It goes, is vritti. Therefore, that concentration you get may not be staying in the same place. So dharana is the ability to keep the mind at the same place. But it happens, dharana happens when the pratyahara completes into that one. Then you take meditation, dhyana. Now I got that image, got that thought, got that virtue. It could be a Rama Japam, it could be a Ambal Upasana, it could be a virtuous thought, or you might using the dhyanam to counteract your your covered eyes. You want to become a brave person, so you're doing a dhyanam for that. So whatever is your object of contemplation, then you hold on to that one. That is meditation. Meditation. Again, meditation is not going to be one with this because it's still with Chittam is going around. So meditation is going to be a battle. So don't ever think I could never do meditation because every time I sit down there, I do all these things and sit down and say Gayatri Mantram or Sri Ram Jayam, and after 15, 20 times Rama Jayam, I think of Rama, then Ayodhya, then Modi's announcement, inauguration, India. It goes like this. It will go like this. That is the power of mind. So Dhyanam is bringing back this. So Dhyanam is not without the war. Dhyanam is the war, but it's a war that you engage solely. Therefore, enjoy it. So that fight is fine. That is not a paripurna. It is a paripurna. You do that. But once it is completed, at some stage, you get samadhi. Samadhi, because he talks about multiple states of samadhi. So when the dhyanam matures, that you don't need to fight anymore, that you are completely still on the Rama Murti or Krishna Murti or Ambal or whatever the thought you are contemplating, you become one with this. You attain samadhi. But again, the samadhi may not stand 2 minutes and just fall away. You remember, I told you before, this all looks like, we are struggling very hard to get the samadhi state. But, this is what the Vedanta always makes fun of us. You try all these things, you're not attaining it because you are getting your own nature, because naturally we are in samadhi. Because what is life? Life is anubhava dhara. In the mind, consciousness comes in with the object, you have an experience, there's a life. It so happens, mind switches to another experience. Therefore, you had another samadhi. So life becomes a series of samadhis. So here, basically, it means you come to ekagra. Now here you see samadhi becomes a sadhana. In the chapter 1, samadhi was a lakshya. There's no conflict. I mean, there are a lot of people argue differently. This is different samadhi and that is different samadhi. No, it's not like that. It is generally, it's a case. When you are talking about it, you say the means, and the means lead to the end, and the end is included as a part of the means. So samadhi is the end of this Ashtanga Yoga, but what you get there is the Vivekyadi. So this is Ashta Angani. These are the 8 limbs. So if you take it as a steps, as 8 steps, and therefore you say, I must climb each step, in one sense it is correct. But literally it is going to be difficult because we will be standing on the first step. Because first step itself for us is going to be difficult when you understand what is yama is. Therefore, we take it as angas. Why this is? Because this is what one of the Mahatmas saying, because if you take everything together, even though you have not achieved perfection in anything, not even perfection, not even a pass mark, it's fine. Because what happens is, pranayama helps you to do yama. Yama helps you do pranayama. The effort of dhyana try to help you dharana and vice versa. The things are happening by mutually rubbing each other. Therefore, it is fine to attempt to do few of them together, but it will take some time. So this self-regulation, discipline, postures, method of using your breathing to get life energy, concentration, withdrawal of senses, concentration, meditation, samadhi, all the constituents. And this is, as I said, all to be taken as a concentric circles. All together, we take it. Now we take the first one. What is yama? Ahimsa, satya, asteya, brahmacharya, aparigraha, yamaha. So he says, yamaha, the self-regulating conditions, the don'ts, the guiding principle by which you should conduct your life are 5. See, even though you say Ashtanga Yoga, he's going to say 5 into yama and 5 into the niyama. So it's actually going to be 10, the first itself. This is a trick of all these shastras. They will They will show something very simple and then they pack more and more into it. Fine, we will take it. So he said, ahimsa, satya, asteya, brahmacharya, abrikara. This is very, very important to understand these things. And this will, if we can follow this, we already taken a very important step to be a yogi. The first one is ahimsa. Generally, we say ahimsa means non-violence. What we do, I mean, Patanjali is not going to expand all this here. He may say here and there a few things, but what we will do, we will take each one of them, understand what it is, why it happens, hetu, how to do it, how to not to do it, and if you follow this, what is the benefit? So we see those few points for each one of them, and then we do the next one. So the non-violence, non-injurious, all that they say, I think it's a little bit more than that. See, violence means it's a physical action. We're hitting somebody is non-violence. How do we hit? How do we cause injury to others? We cause injury to others by our body. When a child is doing something wrong, we slap them. Don't do this one. We slap them. Or we tell them by words, don't do it. So kaya, vak, manobi, sarvada, sarva bhutana, ahimsa. Kaya, vak, manobi. We saw that before in Karma Yoga. Every action that you do, you have three instruments to do it. Only by using those three, any of the three, you can do anything, any action. Kayam, your body. Vak, your words. Mind, your mind. Sarvada and sarvada. Sarvada means all the time. Sarvada, by all means. Sarva bhutana, for everybody, for every being, you don't have an intention of causing injury, himsa to them. Himsa is injury. So you have no desire, no intention, and therefore no application of your body, word, and mind to cause injury, cause violence, cause distress to all being at all the time. It's interesting because all being means it also includes me, right? Many times we don't understand. We do ahimsa to ourselves. We self-suffer. That's also violence. So we should not do himsa to ourselves. Only when you are not doing himsa to yourself, you can do ahimsa to others. So it is the most important, I would rather say the only quality that we need in life. That's why Mahatma is called Mahatma, because of this ahimsa. It is the virtuous quality. In this call, I mean, in fact, in all the ashrama dharma, sannyasam is taken as the most pious, most virtuous. The sannyasa dharma, the mukhya vratam is ahimsa. So sannyasis, when they take sannyasam, they have to declare, like Bhagavan says in Gita, mat bhayam vina. He tells the Stavar Jankam, he calls the trees and the mountains and the rivers, oceans and the aushadis and the insects and the birds, animals, mat bhayam vina. Don't have fear from me. I will not do harm. He tells all these jivas, I will not injure anyone by a car. It's very important. Of course, we don't hurt anybody. No, we don't hurt anybody at all. But we do hurt. If you really think of it, we hurt with our words, with our mind. We say, look, I met the person, I really gave it to him so that he can realize this mistake. We come back and boast ourselves because we are able to choose the right words that will hurt them. Ahimsa. Even the eyes can do himsa. We feed them somebody, somebody is coming hungry and we feed them, and with kindness we feed them. And we watch them eat. And the person who is eating feel embarrassed. Himsa. Every this is all etiquette in life, but we, without even knowing, we do sometimes ahimsa. It is not just killing alone is ahimsa. Himsa. In many, many ways that we can cause himsa in others, violence in others. So this is a total important, because, and also it is said first by Patanjali. He also going to say last. Same with Bhagavan says also in Gita, so many places. Ahimsa is that which defines all other qualities of life. Satya, Steyam, Brahmacharyam, Aparigraham, all this that you're going to see is built on ahimsa. Only for ahimsa, you become truthful. If ahimsa is not there, any action, even the virtuous action you do, is going to cause himsa to others. That is not virtuous anymore. Ahimsa. Why the ahimsa happens? What is ahimsa hate? Why do we cause injury to others? Of course, there are many reasons, but I think there are a few. See, when you want to remove himsa tendency in you, again you need to hetu, no? Hanam, hana upayam you need, but you need hetu for the heyam. Here the heyam is himsa. So to remove himsa, you must know why we do himsa. First one is dvesha. Dvesha means dislike. Sometimes we say, after this class, I said, well, I will be ahimsa. No. Sankalpa is fine. All these words are fine. The words mean nothing. You just cannot do ahimsa. Just because of course, Sankalpa is needed. But all this you need to do in a scientific way. Yoga is a science. It is not a philosophical jugglery and mental peace and then compromise yourself. Oh yeah, fine. This is okay. I can kill a mosquito. I hit it like this way. No, there are exceptions there, but we find out. But it is a scientific principle. Therefore, you should really find out. It's like when you have a sugar problem and they go to doctor. Doctor says you are diabetic and you take this medicine this way. You take this food. Prescription is called prescribed. It's not description, it's a prescription. You have to follow it. And we follow because we want a cure. But this is the doctor Patanjali giving us. You have to cure. The cure is, you need to be, himsa is your disease. And therefore we need to know how to cure it. What's the symptom? How to catch the symptom? When the symptom comes in, how do I avoid it? When the light cough comes in, don't go out. Wear a jumper. Same way. So therefore, in that sense, we'll see some hetu so that it'll help you to identify those hetus. One is dvesha. Dvesha means hate, dislike. You can say, look, there is no way you can say, this is my hate list, this is my like list, and that's it. Now, if it is so simple in life, everything will be so fine. We can find the hate list and then don't deal with them. It's not like that. Who we love, we sometimes hate. Who we hate, sometimes we love. This is the problem in life. Loving wife and loving children, there's a moment comes in, dvesha. Between two anyonya, husband, wife, dvesha. The moment comes, it's inevitable. You cannot say no, it happens. And you do, what happened when the dvesham comes in, what's going to happen? Okay, if you're strong enough, you may take the spoon and hit him. Okay. Doesn't happen. Sometimes you tell him off, get off my back. What happiness I got from you since I got married, blah, 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 blah. Hurtful words comes in. Or you don't even say that. You think in your mind, why is he like this? Cruel. My janmantra papa. You're hurting yourself. Himsa to yourself. See, dvesham comes in Therefore, the dvesham comes in, it's a symptom. The cough comes in, wear the jumper, don't go out. Dvesham comes in, himsa is going to come. So if you know the hetu, then what do you do immediately? Don't let the dvesham take over. Avoid the himsa. The next one I would say is krodham, anger. Sometimes we get angry. When the anger comes in, we do himsa. Either it is a physical himsa or mental himsa or word himsa. We shout at them. See, anger is another. See, ahimsa means not doing himsa to yourself. When you have anger, the himsa starts from you. Because your blood pressure goes up, your brain stops working, your heart gets weakened. You are doing himsa to your poor body, and then you impose that through words and shouting at somebody else. You cause himsa. So therefore, the hetu is krodham, anger. Well, I don't understand when the anger comes in. Means, well, then you need to do some more exercises to your body and mind. But then you come to the point, the improvement in you is sometimes the sneeze is going to come, right? Then you cover your nose. Like that, if you know that the anger is going to come. Symptom, cough is coming, like wear the jumper. Anger is coming. That means himsa is going to be the result. I want to be an ahimsa. It's a paramount in life. Therefore, I must suppress this. Suppress the anger. What is the next one you will have? Matsarya, avarice, envy. Somebody's got something which you don't have. You get himself. This is something this is very subtle, Anger at least comes out. This jealousy is very difficult to predict. It doesn't express us very easily. Even you may not understand that you have a jealousy. But when you see that person, the person is glorified, he gets money, he looks beautiful, he's rich, and he's popular. When you go to him, when you see him, you feel clouded in your mind. You feel that I am little. This is envy. And this will lead to himself. Somehow you will, what is the example? Duryodhana, full of jealous envy from day one. How he suffered, whole life is suffered. So you must know, when you have envy, when you have jealousy, if you can find out that it happens. See, this is the reason I'm saying all this is, nobody can cure this. No medicine can cure it. No Shastra can cure it. You have to do it. And to do this, you have to really, what I think my dad used to say, you really take out against whom you have himself. Who I am giving violence to. Who I am actually suffocating in my action, in my words. You may not know it when it happens, but you always have recollection. And take it. From Bhagavan, somebody went and asked, Bhagavan, you say non, that I cannot really find it. And you said that when it happens, you have to do it. I can't find it. How do I know that moment of it? And Bhagavan he didn't say anything. He was just, as usual, his eloquence, he was sitting there. And it was I think it was one day, I think this person was asked a question. He actually works in the madam, and he was his administrator. He was doing something, and somebody did some mistakes and they're not doing the right thing. And he's angry. He says in Tamil, don't do this ever. If you ever do it, I'll show my real swarup. And then he turned back, and Bhagavan was standing there smiling. He told him, yeah, capture this. Hold on to it. That anger that comes in, think from where it is coming. So like that, when this envy comes, you think about it. Now, who I do, why I do this person, what did I do? Think through it, then you'll find out, well, this is because I am incapable of accepting his or her glory, her opulence, her fame. I'm getting envious, which is wrong. Because her karma, she's enjoying it. My karma, I'm not enjoying it. But she is no different to me. By praising her, I become free. So this, see what happened now. You can forget all this Shiva Jabam and Krishna Japam. All that is come later. Now you see, your dhyanam is going to be this. So you can do the morning dhyanam, sitting there and just thinking about how I'm going to improve this quality. This is very important in life, nothing else. So this is another one. Then also bhayam. Bhayam also creates ahimsa. Mosquito comes in, okay, the malaria will come. But should I not do this? Of course you can do it. You have to do it because you have to really protect yourself. That's why this is, our ahimsa cannot be perfect. That's fine. But then I think about it, maybe if I put the mosquito cream, maybe I put a mosquito net, can I avoid that little violence? So there is a modulation you can do. Well, what about a doctor? You know, he amputates my leg, or he does something which is cruel to the body, painful. That violence, it's himsa to the body. But the himsa that he is doing, his intent is not to do. This is important, is the intention. Bhavana. The intention is not to hurt your body. Intention is to cure the body, save your life. But in doing that, he has to do certain himsa to the body. So when that happens, it is not himsa, it is ahimsa. Now you can see this is where you need to have the Shastra Jnana. You need the preceptors, teachers' advice, gurus' advice, parents' advice, experienced people's advice. That means you need to have Shraddha, you need to have obedience. It's so much of important to this ahimsa. Mahatma Gandhi's ahimsa is not a joke. It's not just against this colonial rule. Just we fight. It's not the meekest surrender. That's not the way it is. There's so much to understand from Mahatma Gandhi's life. So Satyagraham is, I think he has taken to the core of it. I mean, he was only living by this sutra. He wanted to make sure that Satyam, Astheyam, Brahmacharyam, Aparigraham, Ahimsa is his life. This is the life. This is what one need to do. This is Gita. This is Upanishad. This one particular sutra is enough. Because if you can do this, everything will come. Because the moment you live a life which is non-injurious to others, everything else fall in place. What about tapas I do fasting. So my body is, body needs food. Body needs water. I don't drink water the whole day. Don't eat fruits. I suffocate myself. I mean, not doing himsa. It is a himsa. But if you do that with the view to improve your body, improve your mind as a tapas, it becomes an ahimsa. But sometimes you can see, in people they pierce their body and then they walk on the fire and they do very gore tapas. They are not approved in Shastras. So they are in a way himsa. But they do with the ignorance, but it is a himsa in a way. So that's the reason why to be 100% follower of ahimsa, but there is no compromise. You're going to see that. Patanjali says you have to be sarvatra sarvabhutana. That's why for sannyasis, there's no excuse. Because sannyasi has taken up 100% on this. There is no excuse for him. Now, therefore, the upayam, therefore, we saw the hetus, or there could be other hetu also, carelessness, for example. We walk, we step on the ant, we step on the little insects. The Maharishi Jain took this one particular aspect of it and formed a religion called Jainism. But in scriptures, this is impossible for us to do. But that's the reason why we do a parikaram. When you do this sandhyavandanams, you do this chapams, you always ask for forgiveness for this unconscious violence that you have endured on somebody else. And that is fine. And then there was Sastras giving you this one. Therefore, I think we can stop here. I think this is, we've got the time. Yeah. So we just see the benefit of it and we'll stop it. So therefore, what is the benefit of ahimsa? Because ahimsa means not causing pain to anybody else. And that becomes your very nature. Everything else be very friendly with you. Everything will be with you. The whole world is with you. No enmity at all. Snakes go with you. Tigers sit next to you. Thieves don't steal from you. No fear. Abhayam. You become absolutely loved by all. That is a perfection of it. So that's why ahimsa is moksha. Ahimsa is the most profound word is to follow. But here we take it as a particular yama, a life discipline. Therefore, in all our endeavors, in all our action in the body, mind, and the words, we self-regulate that it does not lead to ahimsa. Ahimsa, that means, does not lead to himsa. It means it does not cause injury to anybody at any time, including yourself. So we stop it there and we see the rest of it in the next class. Om Sadoma Shadgamaya.
Om Sadoma Sadgamaya.
Tamashoma Jyotirgamaya.
Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya.
Mrityoma Amridam Gamaya.
Mrityoma Amridam Gamaya.
Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Om Shanti.